Welcome back, recruit, to another Rebel Rant. So, a lot's happened in the last couple weeks, and as I'm sure you've heard by now, Mobile Gamer is completely quit Galaxy of Heroes, and that's unfortunate. He was definitely one of my favorite channels regarding Galaxy of Heroes, and he is certainly missed. And fortunately, Arnold is still doing free-to-play type videos for the game. Cubs fan is still doing videos for the game, and also recently in the last few days, Urzzz has taken a free-to-play pledge. Sounds like he's still going to play the game. He's just not going to spend any money on it, which is a great way to go. Personally, I'm as you might know, I'm already on a free-to-play pledge myself. I'm not going to be spending money on the game for quite some time, and it just it all depends on CG and how they move forward. I do not agree with the whole, when it comes to terms of service, not being able to share or transfer your account. I don't agree with that policy at all, and what happened to Arnold is an excellent example of that. A lot of money was spent on that account, and there is no legitimate reason for them to have done what they did to his account. From a security standpoint, from a legal standpoint, and as an American from a constitutional standpoint, there was zero justification for it. And I'm not gonna spend money on something like that can be taken away at the snap of the fingers. It's these games are digital in nature. There is no physical property. I can't hold it in my hands. I can hold my phone in my hands, but my account is my property, but I cannot hold it in my hands. And the fact that they can take it away so easily for such a illegitimate reason there's just no reason to be wasting money on it. So unless CG changes something, EA changes something in that regard, I'm simply done spending money on it, along with the rest of these guys. So yeah, I can definitely support that 100%. Mobile Gamer completely quit the game. Can't really blame him. You can only put up with so much abuse before you finally have to cut the cord. And yeah, I've experienced that in life in ways that are not related to games, and so I totally empathize with that. Moving on, they finally released a road ahead. They've introduced a new play mode called Galactic Challenges, and it does sound like a pretty nice gaming mode for Galaxy of Heroes. On the surface, it sounds like a pretty nice idea, and it would be great to have something to where you can use all of these characters in your roster. And because it does get pretty boring using the exact same characters over and over again, because it's just what everybody else is using, and you don't have a lot of options in some cases. That is one of the problems with the whole pay tier setup within these games. They, just by their very nature, they have to create characters that are just more powerful in general than the rest, and so that makes the gameplay unbalanced just by virtue of the way they've set it up. And it's my understanding that in the first year or two of the game, when they released new characters, it was much more balanced. There weren't like these dominating characters that just overwhelmed everything else in the game, and you could come up with counters and whatnot. The new characters would be a valuable tool in your roster, but they weren't like Galactic Legends Ray, for example. When Galactic Legends Ray first came out, she just dominated everything, and that was just they did that to make the whales happy at the expense of everybody else. And it's really not the best way to build a game to build pretty much anything, really. It creates a caste system, in a sense. You know, you got the people at the top, and then everybody else, and yeah, we're not talking about like a free market economy here. We're talking about a game where everybody's. This is a very different thing, and you know, it's a game. If people aren't able to play on a level playing field, you got the significant advantage that's just overwhelming, and you're unable to overcome it at all. It does mess with the morale and whatnot of both the community, the gaming community, and everything else. So this Galactic Challenges concept hopefully works out. It does sound like a nice idea, and I really hope they make it work. It would be great to be able to get these other characters from your roster into the game and be able to play around with them and do something fun with them. Make them useful again. It would be pretty amazing. So I really hope it works. We just have to wait and see on the implementation and see how it works out. However, with this road ahead, beyond that, there really wasn't anything else going on. It was a bare bones type of release. There really didn't seem to be a whole lot of excitement from Top Hat in the post compared to previous roads ahead. So there seems to be there is a lack of morale right now, not only in the community but the morale within the company CG. That it does seem to be low, just by how they've responded to things in the last 6 months, and it's really unfortunate when morale gets low like that. Stuff like that is really important. Being in the military, we actually had our morale department, and their job was specifically to maintain a high level of morale for everybody, because it's very important to maintain that morale so that people can focus on their jobs and whatnot. And in this case, with CG, them being able to focus on creating a fun game for the community, being able to focus on the whole point of playing, and that's to have fun. Which, begs the question, who is running the show? It's my understanding, when the first couple years I was playing, I really didn't pay that much attention to the company itself or the politics and whatnot. I just wanted to play. And from what I understand, things have changed drastically within the CG. And seeing as how it's a $1 billion game, it's, you have to ask, how is this acceptable? The way that things are being done. They have an incredible amount of revenue coming through this game into the company. And I understand they're working on the basic infrastructure of the game as far as programming goes, which is, it's a reassuring move that they're taking. That shows that if it works out, it shows that they're serious about the game's longevity. And being a mobile game, it's hard to find a game that you really want to play for years on end. And they've managed to do that with Galaxy of Heroes. If they can figure out a road plan to increase the longevity of the game, because there's plenty of material for them to go through and to build up within this game, and it makes it enjoyable and exciting. When I for the first few years, and when I wasn't even serious about it, I just had fun playing the game. I was excited, like, all right, I got some time, jump in, boom, do my thing. And while I'm still having fun with the game, in recent months, with all of the stuff going on, it has reduced the excitement, and I would love to get that excitement back. So hopefully the changes that they're working on will be beneficial, positive changes that increase the excitement back to a high level it was before, and hopefully the company makes some positive changes from top to bottom. And I think hopefully one thing we've learned is that communication is key. It doesn't matter the situation, civilian life, military life, gaming communities, gaming companies, social platforms. Communication is key. As an American, one of the reasons why the First Amendment is in regards to freedom of speech and whatnot, freedom of expression, because communication is vital to everything in life. And it seems like CG is just afraid to communicate at minimum. Ever since certain personnel changes have taken place, communication seems to have dwindled down to a trickle and is all but non-existent at this point. And that's not good for a healthy community or a healthy company. And whoever's running the show, whoever's calling the shots, hopefully they're paying attention. And hopefully they can humble themselves enough to realize that they need to make some changes. We can certainly hope for the best. For example, the upgrades to the programming foundation of the game. From what I understand, it's something called Unity. I'm not familiar with it, but apparently it would make it possible to create a uniform and streamlined programming foundation that would greatly increase the efficiency when it comes to creating new content and whatnot, which would be amazing. That sounds like it'd be a very beneficial upgrade. Problem is, they don't really tell us much about it. I've barely heard anything about it. There was a podcast with Top Hat recently, and it's the first time I've even heard about it. Stuff like that, if they would be more direct and open about it, it would definitely help the community stay involved, stay engaged in the game, and help us be more patient. Without this information, we have no idea what's going on. We can only, they've taken in so much money from the players. We have no idea what to expect, and why should we spend money if we don't have any reason to believe that the game is going to even continue in the long term? And that's just for starters. So once again, it falls back to communication. It's key to a healthy community and a healthy company. With that said, the handling the game in the last 6 months has been nothing short of incompetent. I understand stuff happens. People come and go. Things change. But you got to find a way, like even when it's complete and utter chaos, you got to find a way to minimize the impact of that chaos and make sure that the way that it's handled is competent in nature, especially when there are so much money involved. I'm talking $1 billion last year, from what I understand. That is a lot of money, folks. And you can't mess with people like this. You just can't. Especially when you're taking something from them, such as $1 billion in revenue. There's so many companies that seem to have forgotten how the free market works. As the consumer, we give you, the business, the money. If we like your product, we are not required to give you our money. If you build a subpar product, we're not likely to give you our money. That's just how it works. And as I'm sure, if you paid attention to like comic books and the movies and whatnot, these creators, these people that are creating these products have openly stated that they don't work for you. You're paying for their product, but guess what? They don't work for you. And that is completely backwards thinking. And I honestly have absolutely no idea where it's coming from. I've never experienced anything like this in my life, and I have been around a while. This is very confusing, to say the least. And these companies really need to open their eyes to just how much they're depending on us, the consumer and the community, for their livelihood. And it's a two-way street, and they completely seem to have forgotten that. So, on the positive side, the community of this game absolutely loves Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I vaguely remember going to the theater when A New Hope was first released. I remember the poster on the wall. It was just so cool looking, you know. And I don't remember a whole lot from the movie at that time, but what I do remember was just awesome. You know, it's like I might not have understood everything that was going on the screen, but I had fun, you know. It's like, and yeah, the good things about this game are great. The bad things about this game are really bad. And I mean, that's, you know, just a fact of life in general. But it seems like, you know, in situations like these, the bad is started to outweigh the good on a pretty heavy level, which is why, you know, for me and several other channels, we've gone free to play. Why for Mobile Gamer, he's quit the game altogether. You can only abuse people so much before they say enough is enough. And, you know, unfortunately, it's unfortunate it's taken so long to reach that point. Because this has been a long time coming, if we're going to be honest here. The leadership in CG simply needs to change, one way or the other. And it needs to be a drastic change. There might be some good people working at the company, at the mid-level, at the lower level. But somebody at the top is calling the shots, and they're the one responsible for how the game has been handled, how the community has been handled, how these channels have been handled. And there needs to be a drastic change within the leadership, at minimum. And if the game is going to endure, if CG is going to endure, CG will need to persevere and rebuild the faith and trust with the community. And the question is, can they do it? I honestly don't know at this point. Obviously, they're trying on some level, but they're ignoring certain things that they should not be ignoring. And those things that they are ignoring will result in bringing down the company and the game. So the changes that they are visibly making appear on the surface, at least, to be good changes. We still have to wait and see how they're implemented. But there are certain things that they are ignoring, and that is a fatal mistake on their part. So we can hope for the best. We can hope that they fully come around on every point that needs to be addressed. And it begs the question: have they followed Disney into obscurity? At least when it comes to Star Wars. I know there are people out there that are a fan of the Disney Star Wars movies, and that's fine. If you enjoyed them, that's fine. But the simple fact is, Disney has completely destroyed the entire Star Wars mythos for me and a lot of other people. Now, while EA might not necessarily be owned by Disney, they do have a licensing agreement with Disney and whatnot. And I find it hard to believe that Disney is not applying any pressure at all on EA or CG in regards to the content that they're creating. They've gone pretty hard and heavy with Kylo and Rey, as evidenced by the Galactic Legends. I find it difficult to believe that Disney is not responsible, at least in part, on that. So has CG openly and willingly followed Disney into obscurity? That's one of the bigger questions. Because not only has Disney ruined Star Wars, but they have in fact drastically altered many of the original Disney properties, which is a whole another topic. So we're not going to go diving into that one. So it leads to another question: will CG be able to break away from and avoid Disney's failures with the franchise? Or has greed become the guiding principle within these companies? Is the lure of fast and easy money become too much for them to resist, as evidenced by the $1 billion revenue from last year? Or will they get back to what made the game fun to begin with, what made it possible for them to make that revenue, make that $1 billion? Will they return to that? Will they restore the morale to the company, to the game, to the community? Or is CG too far gone to turn back from their course? it's human nature to hope for the best. Yeah, I'm prefer to be positive. Yeah, I wish that we didn't have to have these conversations. As a game, I just want to be able to jump in and have fun. Then, there is the reality side to the business, because it is a business, and the CG has done some great things with the game, and they've done some really bad things with the game and the community. So the final question is CG too far gone? Or will they be able to recognize the error of their ways and turn the ship around so the game can continue and the community can continue to enjoy their product? I'm part of a great guild, a lot of good people. I love playing with them, interacting with them. The community at large is very passionate about the game, about Star Wars. And it would be a shame for that to simply just fall apart, as it's been doing for the last 6 months. So there's still a chance for CG to fix things. Just a matter of, will the leadership within the company recognize that, and will they take the appropriate steps? The only time will tell. I don't see why I won't continue playing free to play, at least. As long as I'm not spending money, then I don't have any skin in the game. I have spent some money, so there is that. But that was my decision, and after these things have gone down, I have then made the decision to stop spending money. So from here on out, it's just I'm going back to just enjoying the game for what it is, and we'll just go from there. So yeah, just hang in there, folks. If you're a fan of the game, if you're a fan of Star Wars, just hang in there. We'll see what happens. And hopefully somebody will take the reins that understands the property and the community and respects both the way that we need to be respected. So, thank you for listening to this rant. I'll see you in the cantina, recruit. This is Rebel Squadron out.